So welcome back to the show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a couple of things. The first one, though, is going to be the Black Knight satellite.
Yes.
So, excuse me. So there's been so a lot of people know about it already. Some people already have heard things about it. It's been there forever, apparently. Some people say that it's space debris. Well, that's what I guess NASA's claiming, that it's space debris. It's not a typical satellite, as you would say, but other people believe that it's extraterrestrial in nature. It's been there forever. Nikolai Tesla said he received signals, or he captured signals coming from it. This thing has been up there before known space programs, from my understanding. The Russian and the American space programs. The other thing that I've heard is that it takes, at the time that it was first discovered, it was taking an orbit that we weren't able to achieve around the planet. I believe
Something about it being in the opposite direction.
yeah, and I believe it went from pole to pole in its original orbit. It's also moved locations.
Don't they say that it's like pinging or something like that?
Yes, so that's where I was getting to as well. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Jump ahead.
The other thing I was going to say was like, well, it's giving off signals apparently, and these signals are, I guess, going to the Boetis constellation. I may be pronunciating that incorrectly, but forgive me. But yeah, it's been doing that forever. And that, this thing has just been up there. No, they say that, okay, NASA's saying it's space debris or space junk from us.
Yeah.
It would be a likely story if that was the case, but it's been there before we started our space program.
Yeah.
And it's been up there before any other space programs were there.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, like I said, no one knows its true intentions. They can't get close to it. When they get close to it, it moves. It's been known to move from one type of orbit to another type of orbit, and so forth and so on. It's very fascinating why this would occur. What are your thoughts on it?
I always thought it was very interesting how there's something up there, and we don't know what it is. How is that possible? And the fact that it's pinging or whatever they said, we found out about this, like 10 years ago?
Yeah,
And the
around that time.
pictures were just total crap, of course, because cameras were
Yeah.
not great back then, 10 years ago. And now they're like super clear. That's why the grainy videos and the grainy pictures and all that, it's gotten a lot better, but it's hard because there's all this CGI and people fabricate. Yeah. And it's hard to tell what's real and what's not, but this has been shown for a long time now. And, of course, our source, TikTok, they had videos of it. There's a video where it's super clear and it looks, just, you can see that it's reflecting Earth, and but what is it? Yeah. Why haven't we gone up there and taken a look, or have we and they just haven't said so? At this point, I really don't trust what information we're getting from NASA or anyone in the government, because I mean, look at what has been coming out.
Yeah.
things about UFOs and the fact that they have we have the technology we have the technology to do things, and they're not sharing that, and we should be flying around in cars and
Like the Jetsons.
yeah, like the Jetsons, and we're not. We're still, they're laughing at us. The aliens are laughing at us like, look at these morons, they're still in cars, we're over here, flying around in these spaceships, whatever. And yeah, it's just, so for me, I believe that that's not a piece of some spacecraft that we've created. I feel like it's something that's been around for a long time. And as I said before, there's been civilizations after civilizations, and just like an onion, layered on this planet. And again, I have to say, what makes us think that the beings that were here before us weren't like advanced in technology than what we are now? I feel we haven't scratched the surface on math, on science, on a lot of stuff. And I mean, I'm not super duper smart, but I know that there's more to the knowledge that we have so far.
Yeah.
We've only scratched the surface on that, I feel.
Well, I was listening to another podcast, and it had Billy Carson on it. It was the Concrete podcast. And Billy Carson was talking about the Black Knight satellite in that. And he was mentioning that this satellite has been there throughout the entire civilization for the most part. And some of these things in our nonfiction, like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, the Eye of Sauron, that is actually what is a metaphor for the Black Knight satellite. It's been in all these different texts.
Yeah.
And apparently, like the satellite is watching the planet and sending these signals back to its area of origin, which I thought when I heard that was like, okay, that's interesting, because I've never heard it spoken about like that. And I kind of I like Billy Carson. I like what the things that he talks about, and I like how he delivers these things. He also, I guess, has a documentary about the Black Knight satellite. I haven't watched it. It's on his own network.
Well, he's been discovering a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
he's putting in work.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I feel like in the last like year or so,
yeah,
like he's really been at the forefront in the media, or fringe media or whatever, discussing these things and really bringing a lot of different ideas and concepts out into the forefront and into the new scope of thinking.
I mean, it's like something like Ancient Aliens, where they
he was on that show.
They make you think outside of the box. Correct. They make you wonder about things and question a lot, and it does make you think, how do some of these places have these old, what is it, like these artifacts where they find like a digital watch buried deep down, and it's like, how did that get there? Or the astronaut on some church, a figure of an astronaut, or a piece of rock that was lasered off, but no one's been there to do that. So how did that happen, type of thing. And they make you really think about stuff. Who built all the pyramids, and like, how did they build them, and how was that possible? And they make you question a lot of stuff, and it's very good. Sometimes I feel like they reach a little bit.
Well, yeah.
But again,
But there is some fundamental questioning that going on,
Yeah,
like
it
for
was
instance, those
aliens.
the hieroglyphics in
Yeah.
Egypt that have the depiction of a helicopter, like,
Yeah.
or the one that shows a light, and
Okay,
they were trying
so
to say like it was a lotus
let me
blossom.
let me say that. Let me say something about that, and here's my theory, because I'm always with the theories. The helicopter thing. So I feel that because we talk so much now, especially now in the past, I want to say maybe 3 to 4 years, about, it's been so relevant
Hmm.
about other dimensions. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've noticed that,
Hmm.
but it's been a thing, and it's just like it's so out there now, and I feel like more and more people are really taking the other dimensions, the possibility of other dimensions, serious.
Yeah.
So when you talk about that, the helicopter, it makes me think that, what if they went through some type of portal that took them back in time or whatever, and they actually traveled through time, because there are stories out there where airplanes have they have missing time. They
Yeah.
actually, there's a story, I think it was in Florida or Bermuda
It was a
Triangle
Bermuda
area.
Triangle. Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes through some type of electrical
Vortex.
storm vortex. Yeah. And he was, I don't remember exactly. It was only a matter of
So
minutes.
I know the story that you're talking about.
Okay.
So
Regale the story.
I will. Now, I don't. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna paraphrase a lot of the story
Yeah,
for the
that's fine.
listeners, but this is going to be the gist of it.
The
I don't.
gist. Yeah.
I don't remember the pilot's name who tells the story. You guys can look it up. Um, so he was flying, I believe, from the Bahamas back to Florida, and to do that, he has a certain amount of fuel. And when you're a pilot and you're in your own plane or whatever, fuel is one of those things that you really have to be careful with.
Yeah.
You don't want to run out of gas in mid-flight. So he says he's flying. He's going across the Bermuda Triangle. He sees like a circular tunnel cloud electrical vortex thing appear in front of him. Of course, you can't just hit the brakes and stop, in a plane. So he's committed to going through it. As he's going through it, he's saying, yeah, it looks like a vortex. He's kind of like, what the fuck type of thing. Gets to the other side.
Wait, between that, he can't see anything.
Yes,
He can't tell what's up or down, so
correct.
he has to trust the gauges in the aircraft to
Yes,
navigate, to make sure he's not going down,
correct.
because he can't tell what's up and what's
Correct.
up and down.
Because he's inside of this vortex.
Correct. Sorry.
So he finally gets through the vortex
Mm-hmm.
unharmed, and he gets picked up on the Florida radar tower. And he's like, wait, what? How did I get here? I just barely started my flight. I should have been, somewhere over the ocean still.
Yeah.
And he's approaching the Florida peninsula. Checks his fuel, and he's not expended enough fuel for the distance
trip.
that he's traveled.
Yeah.
And is completely baffled by this whole scenario. Of
And
course,
it took like minutes.
Yeah, the flight's supposed to be like an hour and 30 minutes or something like that, and it took him like 20 minutes. So couldn't go his plane. With aircraft specifically, you can only go as fast as the airframe will allow you to go through the air. And for what he did, his plane would not have survived. He basically did a warp jump from the Bahamas to Florida, which is crazy. The other thing is, I don't understand why people don't, why there isn't more research done in the Bermuda Triangle.
Probably because they're scared they're gonna
Well, I mean,
disappear.
There's
There's
also
so many disappearances
Yeah.
out there. Like there's people who are bold for sure,
Yeah,
and are willing, but what's to say that these people came back?
yeah, yeah.
And again, I go back to the helicopter thing. What if they saw that and it was just going through that same,
Situation,
yeah,
a
and
vortex.
we're, you know,
Yeah.
we're going through and whatever is showing us whatever, but some native down in the island is like, what is that, you know, back in the 1500s or whenever,
Yeah.
and let me etch this in stone, so you know this is what I saw.
Yeah.
And what if it was just like how they say that ghosts are from another dimension?
Hmm.
So what if we're just that other dimension, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
of time though?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. You're seeing echoes of a different time from a
Correct.
different dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Even
it.
of the future.
Yeah. You know, I
Because
get it.
this world is energy.
Hmm.
We live on a planet full of energy. So what makes us think that the skies are not energized?
Well, they are.
But
I know what you
in
mean.
that way,
Yeah, I
you
know
know what
what
I
you mean.
mean? For time travel.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's very interesting that you brought that up, because that was something that you and I watched a long time ago.
Hmm.
And I really believe this. Like, people have shown videos of just portals, and I wonder, is that true?
Some of them I think are phenomena. Some of them I feel are VFX because VFX have gotten
So
so
good.
good. Um, but
Yes.
but just wrapping it back around
Mm-hmm.
the back to the Black Knight
Yeah, yeah,
satellite.
yeah. Sorry.
Um, it's a really interesting thing to have something that's been there longer than we've been spacefaring to the degree that we are. You know, we've only been really spacefaring for what the last what has it been, 60, 70 years? Not really a long time.
Has it? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
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 Maybe less. I don't know the exact math, but
Mm,
um
50 years.
yeah, something like that. I mean, across the world. I'm not just talking about America. I mean, look at Sputnik. That's not Sputnik.
Yeah, about 50, 60 years.
Yeah. You know, so it's very interesting that this piece of equipment, I'm going to call it, has been sitting there. Now, and here's the thing that really bothers me about when they say it's space junk. The object is pretty large for what it is. How come the orbit has never decayed and it's fallen back to Earth? As we all know from
Well, how
this,
come
hold on.
it's sorry.
Well, we all know from what they tell us that eventually these things fall back
Yeah.
to space. All right, so before sorry for the interruption and the cut. We had a technical difficulty that occurred. That is now hopefully corrected. So we're just going to continue with the conversation that we were discussing.
Yes.
And so where I last left off was why hadn't the Black Knight satellite orbit decayed and fallen back to Earth? And that's the thing I think gets me all the time when they talk about this thing and how long it's been up there, and they say it's space junk from our government officials like NASA. And that's my thing. It's like, but why hasn't it fallen back to space? Everything else falls back to from space back to Earth. You even tell us about these things decaying. We not too long ago, I'm gonna say a year, maybe longer, we had a satellite that was decommissioned that fell back to Earth. Why hasn't this thing fallen?
Maybe because it's made out of some special shit, and that's the excuse that they give you.
Exactly.
You know,
And that's my point.
excuses.
That's my point with the Black Knight satellite.
Yeah.
Regardless if you want to call it whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
if it's been here for as long as we've been in space, let's just say,
Yeah.
why hasn't it decayed? Why hasn't its orbit decayed? Why
Yeah.
hasn't it fallen back to Earth? If you're gonna tell me it's it's a tarp, that's one of the things I heard. It says tarp that from the space station.
If that video that I saw on TikTok was a tarp, wow, what a tarp. Because it was super clean and very spacey looking, and that, what a great looking tarp. Why aren't we using that here on Earth?
Right. I don't believe it. Like,
Yeah, of course
I
not.
just
I
can't
don't believe
believe any of
shit they
that.
have to say at this point. I
Yeah.
mean, just tell us, show us. But they're not.
No. No.
And again, back to me and the taxes. That's where our money fucking goes, for them to lie to us and keep
Yeah.
shit from us.
Um.
I'm only giving a small percentage of taxes, but it's still fucking taxes. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way about that. Go ahead.
So that's the Black Knight satellite.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I would like to know and see what happens with that in my lifetime.
Hmm.
Um, it's been around for many, many lifetimes, and I'd like to know. I'd like to see a lot of things in my lifetime. I mean, in our lifetime, we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of things. We came from, we're 80s kids,
Hmm.
90s teens,
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
2000s adults. We've seen a lot of stuff happen, and how we've evolved, and technology has, I said, taken leaps and bounds. And you know eventually I'd like to see us be able to go, Elon, what's up with man-made suit to go on, out into outer space. Like, let me just, go out there and check it out. And
Yeah.
but they want to claim we don't have that technology yet, but we do.
I don't. I
We
don't
do.
believe it.
At this point we do, and they've it's
Suppressed.
coming out. No,
Yeah.
but it's coming out that we have the technology to do so much, and there's so many things that I'm sure that they've invented. What is it, reverse engineered,
Hmm.
and they don't want to share it because they're a bunch of greedy fucks.
Hmm.
And that's what it boils down to, is greed. It's so crazy to me. Like, how much money do you really need?
All of it.
Why? What is hoarding money helping you? In what way? In competition with some other fucking trillionaire? Like, who gives a fuck? The only one that cares is you. The only one that cares is you and the other guy, because no one else cares. Everyone else is too self-involved in trying to survive on this fucking world of high prices and high gas and high living. Like,
Hmm.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And billionaires and trillionaires and whatever, I mean, all these people with too much money, it makes me sad for you. It makes me so sad, because I get that, like, you earned it, but at the same time what you're doing is not right. um I feel that they could do more for this world, and that is not gouge us at checkout. But that's my
Well,
piece.
moving right along to
Sorry.
another billionaire.
Oh.
Um, I think he's a billionaire. I'm not 100% sure, but I
Kian.
know if he's not a billionaire, he's a multimillionaire.
Kian.
Robert Bigelow.
Oh yeah.
Robert Bigelow, if those that don't know, Bigelow Aerospace, he bought at one point Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the show on the History Channel, it's pretty interesting.
It's on
Uh,
Netflix right now.
it is on Netflix. I didn't
Yes.
know.
It's just, I think it's season
Season
one
one,
and
yeah.
two, maybe. But yeah, I know it's on Netflix. So if you
So
haven't,
yeah,
watch it. It's interesting. It's very interesting. And as the seasons go on, it gets better. It's just a lot of information. And go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. We haven't watched season three. We will
Four.
eventually.
I believe they're on the fourth season now.
I don't know. Well, we haven't watched the current season. Whatever
Yeah.
the season is that it's on now, we haven't watched it. But before they even started this show, I did know about the Skinwalker Ranch. Robert Bigelow at one point owned Skinwalker Ranch and did a lot of experiments, his team, on paranormal phenomena,
Yeah.
different happenings that are happening there. The people that he bought it from, A lot of happenings were happening to them. There's a lot of stories out there, too many for me to discuss
Well,
over the podcast, but
let
I
me
will say this.
let me say this
Go
one
ahead.
thing. It's not just from within the ranch, it's from outside of the ranch, the
Hmm.
neighbors of the ranch, because the ranch is a big property. It's
It's a 100 plus acre property.
Yeah, it's huge, but the neighbors of the property are they've
Witness
told,
things.
yeah, their stories, what they've seen, and
Hmm.
yeah, so sorry about that.
No, 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 that's fine. And then the lore
Hmm.
with this property um, before it became a ranch. Um, it was cursed Indian land.
Yes.
Um, Now, if you know anything about cursed Indian land, you know that David doesn't watch Poltergeist
My favorite movie.
because they were living on cursed land.
Yes.
but you know the Laura's there's two different tribes. One tribe curses the other tribe, and this tribe curses them to be skinwalkers, which I don't know exactly what a skinwalker is. I heard different stories, but basically it's a human that is no longer human that can change into a beast. That's enough for me to not want to own this property. But you know, they Bigelow ended up buying the property off the other ranchers. Who again, these other ranchers had some very freaky, weird things happening to them. They encountered a werewolf type creature that they shot. That it did nothing to the creature. The father and son. There's been many of cattle mutilations
Yeah.
on this property. So much so that Robert Bigelow set up watchtowers to check. Um, you know, this phenomena that occurs. They're people that come onto the show that were employed by Robert Bigelow that tell these fascinating stories about what they encountered when they were there. Orbs, weird phenomena happening to your physical body, like
Yes.
the current team that's there, the ranch hand. He ended up having a serious situation happen to him where when they talk about it, it sounds like his skull was being pulled apart.
Yeah.
Me myself, I probably would never go back onto the property if that
Like
if that happened to
the
me.
crown of his head, the crown of his skull.
Yeah. So all these fascinating stories, and you know they're showing this on TV, and it just makes you believe like what in the hell is
Well,
going on there?
let's clear something.
Hmm.
Bigelow owned it
Yeah,
and sold it,
correct.
and he sold it to Brandon Fugel.
I call him Batman or Bruce Wayne because that's what he reminds me of.
He purchased it, and because they did a documentary on it before when
Hmm.
Bigelow owned it, and we watched that, and it was good, it was interesting, but then Fugel came and was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it from you, because he was
Hmm.
selling. And now he's like, I want a full investigation. He's the one paying for all of that stuff to be done. He's
Hmm.
allowing them to come in and do all the research, and the research is amazing.
Hmm.
The research is amazing. They found like what seems like some type of portal in the middle of the sky of the ranch,
Hmm.
which is crazy. It they did like a 3D model type of thing where they scanned the area and it shows you. They also have dug into the mountain because
Hmm.
it's like a plateau,
Hmm.
and they've dug into the mountain and they've come up with metal pieces from where.
Yeah.
So they feel like there's something in the mountain. They just don't know how to get to it. and there's radiation spots, but it's not even a spot, it's the randomness
Yeah.
of the radiation. So
Radiation at one time, then you go back and check and it's gone.
well, it's so what happened in one of the episodes, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. There's two guys, they're in within like 2 feet, 3 feet of each other, and all of the sudden one of them, only one, gets hit with radiation, not the other guy. And he's like, what had just happened? And he had radiation burns on him. The other guy is literally standing next to him and nothing
Perfectly
happened.
fine.
Nothing happened to him. So it's and it was in I don't want to say that the area is known for that. I think it was just the randomness of it.
Well, what about the known equipment failures where
Yes.
you're these people are checking their equipment before they go in, you know,
Full
past the
battery.
gate, full battery, everything's working perfectly, get there, set up, and the battery's dead.
Yeah.
Or in the middle of doing something, the battery is dead. Or the many instances that they show where people are, their phones start going
Glitching
crazy and
Yeah.
like it's pulling data out of the phone. It's intelligently going through their phone, looking
That's
at
what it looks
contacts.
like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I mean, it could be completely random. It could be just the phone glitching,
Yeah.
whatever, electromagnetic
But-
spikes.
Yeah.
You know, like the ranch hand went and got a tractor so they can do some digging. Verified that the battery is working great, no problems, no nothing. Tested it before he even got there. Drove the tractor all the way across the ranch to where the site was that they were going to do their excavation. And soon as he starts using it, battery failure. And it's like, how is this possible? Like, I know batteries go out, they're batteries, but there's no way that the battery goes out like that. The drone pilot that was going to do the air survey of the land, he's
Dead.
like, I've never experienced this.
Yeah, the battery is dead, completely dead.
Yeah, and he can't even charge it dead.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to get a new battery.
And then when he left the property,
It's all
I
fine.
believe it was fine. The other thing is that they, because of what happened to the guy that was like his scalp and stuff, they refused to dig because every time they started to dig on the property, something crazy would happen and someone would, you know, get ill or whatever. And so they just had to say, you know what, we can't dig. And they were scared. Like, they were actually afraid to dig because every time they did that, something happened. And it's like they're disturbing the area, and they're saying it was cursed by the Navajo because they stole the land, and that there's a skinwalker on there that they actually have heard like cries and stuff like that, and they've actually seen something on the mountainside. Even the neighbors have said like they've seen things, you know, lights.
What about the one episode? I don't mean to cut you off, but the episode where they had a pack of llamas. Put on the ranch from another rancher to basically to watch the llamas to see if they react to anything, because I guess llamas are spook easy, so they can use them as an alert system, and something attacked one of the llamas.
Something like they don't know what it was.
Couldn't really capture it on camera.
What irritates me is that the cameras are so bad. How is it that they don't have a great camera on there, or are we seeing a camera that's bad because on purpose because the attack was too brutal? And they actually do have it on camera. We don't know. I'm just speculating.
I think that here's the thing that I think of when in regards to their camera system. I think they really do have good camera systems. I think whatever anomaly is happening there, it's affecting electronics, and that could be affecting the cameras. Because they have HD cameras. When you see them inside their command center and they show you, you're looking at it and it's like, well, those are even though we're looking at it being filmed, it still looks like good quality
And I think
cameras.
to myself, how many times, now that you mentioned that part that they're being filmed, how many times have those batteries died out? And how
Yeah.
much footage have they lost and not been able to get because of those
Hmm.
glitches on the property? I mean, we watched a cow die
Yeah.
in broad daylight, and they even show some type of UFO over the ranch. They filmed it
Hmm.
and they caught it, and they keep catching. That's the thing too, is that they have all these videos of what they call UAPs. Well, I don't know, they've changed the name again, but
Just
I'm
call it
gonna
a
call it,
UFO.
well, I'm gonna call it unidentified aerial phenomena, because that's what they said it was
Yeah.
called. And they have a lot of video of them there, and at night there's like lights and
Orbs and
orbs.
things
Yeah,
happening.
like it's crazy. It's just crazy, some of the stuff that they get. It's just,
How about when
it's
they
crazy.
shot the laser beam at the plateau and
Mm.
it illuminated the entire plateau and they're
Yeah,
like, how is this even possible?
yeah.
Another thing I wanted to bring back up,
Mm-hmm.
circling back to Robert Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Robert Bigelow was one of the people that was part of the ATIP program?
No,
He
I didn't
was
know.
him and Harry Reid. I guess he spoke to Harry Reid to help, like I guess create this program. So that right there is very interesting. I know from just watching Skinwalker Ranch, the show, they talk about how Bigelow had a government contract partnership on the ranch. So what were they up to? And they believe that that plateau was demoed because of it's not natural the way the rock formation is. So it makes you think, what the hell is going on over there?
I don't know.
Me personally, my Negro senses tingle. I'm not going onto that property.
And see, I want to go. I want to go.
I'll go, but I'm not staying.
I want to go and check it out and see it, and cuz I'm super curious. I'm like very curious about
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Like I, want to go to a haunted hotel just to check it
Yeah,
out.
I'll.
Dave, hold on. David does not want to do that. I understand why he doesn't want to do that. I've seen some shit throughout my life, so I feel like, I want to see if I can like take it, deal with it, you know.
On your
I know. I know. But like, will I see anything is my
own. Yeah.
curiosity, I guess I can say.
Well, as far as going to Skinwalker Ranch, yeah, I'll go. But the moment some other than the moment that some really weird, freaky phenomena starts happening, I'm done. It's over. I am leaving the property.
Dave and I have gone stargazing. I talked about this before. I love stargazing, and I think it's a beautiful thing, because if you've never done it, do it once, just so you can see what you're missing out on. Because what you see with the human eye, you won't see on a telescope, or yeah, you'll see more on a telescope
Hmm.
versus what you see visually without any kind of enhancement.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And the first time he bought me a telescope, and I was in love. We went to Stargaze, and there are so many stars
Hmm.
that the night sky is hiding because of all of the city lights. And when you go to dark spots, anywhere you can find a dark spot, especially like the forest and stuff, the
Hmm.
mountains, you get a really good view of our galaxy, and like all the stars. And
Our solar
it's
system in
but
general.
I do it because I want to see something. And we've seen shit.
Hmm.
We've seen things that are satellites, we've seen them. But there are other things that we can't explain, because they turn in a different direction, and it's like, well, how the hell did they do that,
Yeah, satellites don't
no.
turn mid-flight.
It's been interesting with
Hmm.
having the ability to look at the sky, and I love it. And I recommend that people do it, because there's so much up there that we're not seeing, and they don't want you to see. And I kind of feel like the lights are them trying to drown out us seeing other vehicles in the sky, because it could be us now.
Well, I feel like also people have to know what's in the sky to begin with. Like people
Yeah.
can mistake satellites for actual satellites for something that
It's yeah.
it's just a satellite, and they're thinking
Yeah.
it's a UFO or something, but it's not. It's a
Yeah,
satellite.
but
And you can tell satellites, they move in a very linear pattern.
mhm.
They don't break from that line.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
But yeah,
But
sorry.
yeah, back to Skinwalker Ranch. It's a very interesting location, and it's just in Utah.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting locations that are affected by some type of phenomena.
Hmm.
Like in, I think it's in China, they have a forest where people go and kill themselves.
Oh yeah, Suicide Forest.
Yeah, and
I think
they
it's yeah. I
they
think it's
say that
China.
as soon as you get there, you feel the energy,
Yeah.
and that it like brings you down. And of course, many people have died there, but like, has it always felt like that? You know, the first person that went and killed themselves, did they feel like that? Was it already like that? Or did they just label it that because one person, two people, five people, 10 people
Yeah.
did it? And all of a sudden it's become the spot. Like a lot of people jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, or bridges, period.
Hmm.
You know, they jump off and that kind of thing. But like
Well,
energy is everywhere. And I feel that no matter where you go on this earth, there's going to be some type of energy to reveal something,
mhm.
just like Skinwalker Ranch. I mean, how many places do we hear about, interesting phenomena? They show up, UFOs show up all of a sudden, they take something
Hmm.
from the ground, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Hmm.
What did they just take?
Or you just hear weird phenomena. Period.
Yeah.
Just in general, like haunted homes,
Stonehenge.
hotels, huh?
Stonehenge.
Stonehenge, which always fascinates me with Stonehenge because it's supposed to be a location where, I mean, it's supposed to be about the equinoxes, but the fact that I know that well, I don't know, but what they've told us was that it was built by druids. And whenever I think of druids, I think of, cloaks and rune stones and mystical beings and sorcery. So whenever I hear Stonehenge, that's the imagery that
Yeah.
pops in my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
Is mystical people doing some mystical stuff that I shouldn't be privy to seeing because this is too mystical for me. you know, Snake Mountain out in America. I don't know exactly where it's at, but Snake Mountain is another one that's they believe is that it's coming out that it may be older than what they initially said, but they don't want to confirm it because I don't know what. That's the other thing. I don't understand why if you have evidence, if you're a scientist and you're coming to the conclusion with new evidence, why are the other scientists ridiculing them for showing this new evidence? Like the whole Finks situation, where he's saying, one of the guys saying like this isn't from water erosion, like what they say, this is water erosion from rains, and they're trying to disprove this guy. I know you probably haven't seen it, probably haven't heard about it.
No,
I went on a tangent.
no, 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 no. You say what you want. That's fine. I'm trying
Hmm.
to understand, what is it that.
They're saying that the Sphinx is a certain amount of
Sphinx.
Sphinx. I got a speech
Come
impediment.
on, man. I was like, wait,
just let me do
what?
this. My speech
I
impediment.
wasn't. I don't think I was looking at you when you said it, so that I heard
Sphinx.
Sphinx. I heard Sphinx, and I was like,
Yeah,
wait, what? Sorry.
speech
I'm not.
impediment.
I'm not trying
Get
to
it
blast
together.
you. I was just didn't get it. That's
Well,
why I was
anyway,
like, wait, what?
back to what I was saying.
Sphinx. Sorry. Go ahead.
They're
Grammar
saying
police
that,
here.
yeah, let it go.
I'm letting it go.
So, they're saying that it's a certain age, but then there's another scientist. I can't remember his name off the top of my head because we weren't planning on talking about this. And, he's saying that it's older because of the type of erosion that has occurred on
Okay.
it. It's
isn't there a scientist that he is out there and he controls all of that, and they started looking through the Sphinx and he stopped everything from, I can't remember his name,
yeah, he's been
but
around forever. He's been
he
around since the
stopped the
90s.
investigation
Uh-huh.
because he didn't want people to know what was really going on. And
Pull it up. Pull it up. The guy's name. Uh, he's a Egyptian archaeologist. He's been the leading Egyptian archaeologist since forever. I've seen him since the 90s. He was there to open up, I think, one of the what is it? Those tubes inside the pyramids of Giza. Yeah, Zahi Hawass. Yeah, him. Apparently, he doesn't want certain things to be explored as new science because of whatever. He doesn't want his word to be, disproven. It's my take on it.
I don't really know. I just know that he stopped everything, which I
Yeah,
think is bullshit. Like, how can you just say, no, you can't look into it any further? What the fuck? And
exactly.
this is, whatever.
And
Whatever.
he's got the Egyptian government. The Egyptian government has him in his pocket, or they're doing the handshake to keep the information
Well, who
secret.
knows why they want to keep a secret? I mean,
Maybe it's for a specific
you know,
purpose.
every country keeps their own secrets.
Hmm.
I know we do. We try, and even from our own people,
But see,
even from our own American fucking citizens.
no, I totally get it. But what
You
I'm
know,
saying is, my thing is, I don't I don't think that scientists should be doing that if it's if they can prove their work and it's provable by other scientists. You can't have one gatekeeper scientist
no, I
stopping it all.
absolutely agree.
And that's how I feel this guy
Yeah,
is. He's a gatekeeper,
he's a gatekeeper for sure.
and
But
let the people know.
they're not going to say shit because, again, it's all secrets and bullshit. And who knows, what if they found some technology, like I said, and they don't want to share that because they don't want the Americans to get a hold of it,
Or
or
maybe they don't even
Russians,
know how to
or
use it,
may-
or
that
or
too.
maybe it's done
What
some
if they found
destructive
the
stuff.
magic that the Bible talks about?
Yeah,
Said fictional book.
yeah.
So yeah,
What was it? Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm not trying to see the Ark of the Covenant.
yeah. You don't want to see the tablets
Nah, I'm good.
because that's what they claim are in there.
Yeah, I'm good.
Although it was nice sand in there and Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones.
As that's
That
just
was
how
so
they
good.
depicted it, but who knows?
No,
I
I
mean,
know.
the
Who
sand
knows?
could be the tablets just broken
Or
into
maybe
pieces.
it's just the actual arc.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? I mean, who really knows? Will we ever know in our lifetime? Again, I speak of the lifetimes because you and I are going to live a certain amount of time on this planet, and we are going to see more things happen, just like we're seeing a lot of things. We're going backwards. It just what the other day I saw that the Supreme Court has passed a law that says that you can discriminate against LGBTQ people, and I'm like,
No, that's kind of misleading.
I was like, no, I read the headline. I didn't look into it further. I just thought to myself, that's backwards. Like, that's so
So,
backwards. Hold on, hold on. That's so backwards. Just like there's still racism in this country, which there shouldn't be, because most of the population has different
no,
nationalities.
I
And
get what you're saying.
yeah, like, I don't understand how we're still here, and it's been it's just become more relevant now than ever. And I get why, because have been injustices and stuff, and things have happened that are just absolutely horrible. But I'm grateful because we have cameras now, and a lot of this is being caught, and a lot of people have been fired for these things. But yeah, it's just
So I wanna just
sorry.
briefly flip back to that Supreme Court thing that you
Yeah, yeah,
mentioned.
yeah. Please,
I looked at it a little bit, and
good for you.
for
'Cause
me,
I didn't.
for me, I kind of agree with it. Yeah, hear me out.
Hear me out.
Hear me
Yeah,
out.
okay.
So, from my understanding, from what I read,
Yes.
the ruling is not to discriminate against LGBTQ plus whatever the letter gang
Yeah.
on employment and stuff like that. It's not
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
What this case, from my understanding, is from a cake maker and a couple that wanted a cake made. And
I remember that.
this couple was same sex couple, and the cake maker did not want to make the cake for them.
Okay.
I feel that it's a service that they're providing, but their service does not align with the cake company's uh, their morals and beliefs.
Okay.
So it falls kind of in between the freedom of speech. Hold on, falls in
I'm
freedom of
not saying
speech
anything. I'm just it's
because you
no, no,
basically. Well, here.
hold on.
No, 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 no,
I'm
no, no. I gotta stop you.
absorbing. I'm absorbing what you're saying.
Okay, so here's the thing. If the Supreme Court was to agree with their side, that means that people could write things and do things that disagree with their morals and beliefs. So if you are a web designer, this is how, and this is the analogy that they, hold on, this is the analogy that they put it in other contexts. You're a web designer and now you have Nazi racists coming to you to make
Yeah.
this web design.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to do this, you can't because the law states that you still have to provide that service, even though it goes against your morals and beliefs and how you feel about their propaganda that they're selling. Now, they can sue you for this because you refuse the service for them for this.
I understand that.
Now, it's the premise with the cake maker.
No, I totally get that.
So I kind of agree with the ruling
No,
because
I now see. Okay, so the the headline was very broad.
yeah, and that's how they
Okay.
got people.
Hold on. The headline was very broad. Now, when you explain it that way, I completely understand because I work for a company and my bosses are Jewish. And there have been artworks that have been supplied to us that don't align with them or their beliefs. And some have been Jewish hate, you know, discriminatory artwork, also anti-Muslim type of stuff, and they're just like, no, we're not going to do this. So they tell them, we're not going to do this. So I totally get that. That's not how it read, though.
I know that's
So
not
no,
how a lot
but
of people.
I
Didn't read it.
like the fact that you explained that to me and that I know, because for me it's like, well, how can you discriminate against somebody over what their
Preferences.
what their preference is? Like, it's going, for me it was like just the headline alone was
It was clickbait.
why no, well, no, it was clickbait, but what I'm saying is, but the thought in my mind when I read it was like, here we are telling people like, you can't be this. But it's not about you being this, it's about accepting that this business doesn't accept that.
Correct.
You know, and I, even though they may feel it's wrong, it's very gray.
So, and from my understanding,
It's very
it
gray.
wasn't that the cake maker wouldn't make them a cake. What they wanted the cake maker to write on the cake is what was the deal breaker. I don't know what that was.
No, I know. I
but
was going to say, I wonder what it was.
and that was a deal breaker because it went against what their beliefs is.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
that's why I said it's really on a line of freedom of speech. And if you
I totally
and
get
if you
that.
side with one group because of this, then that means that you're opening the door, this Pandora's box for all these other groups, and you're subjecting businesses to have to do things that
No,
they don't
absolutely.
agree with.
I totally agree with that, and I get why that is, and I'm glad you explained that to me because again, I was just like, we're doing this.
Yeah, no.
Like that's the narrative that they put on there, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it
You
was
know,
very
because let me tell
misleading.
you something. I love me some gay people. I love gay people. My best friends are gay, men mainly, um, and I advocate for gay people, and I find it very offensive when someone discriminates against a gay person. But also, there's a line that needs to be drawn on what's offending and what's not. And I feel that, you know, sometimes some people can become the gay Karen, you know, or
Hmm.
like a straight Karen. And it happens. Some people take it a little too far. I don't know about this. I don't know every single detail. I'm just basing it off of what David said, but what David said made a lot of sense because where I work, that happens as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to make something for someone with a swastika on it or, you know, some kind of yeah,
Racial derogatory
yeah,
statements or
yeah, yeah,
imagery,
for sure.
and
So
that's
I
what
get
this is
that.
about.
So I feel it doesn't really have to do. No, let me rephrase that. I feel that it was clickbait. I feel that the headline was bullshit.
Yeah. So I read an
But
article
thank you for
about it.
clearing that up
Yeah,
for
I
me.
read
I
an article
appreciate
about
that.
it, and basically read a couple of articles, but the article that I read, they kind of broke down what that meant and why they did this, and what the several other judges quoted. They quoted several other judges on basically why they went this way, and it was basically because it falls more on a freedom of speech. And if I don't
Interesting.
like your freedom of speech, you have the right to have your freedom of speech, but I don't have the right to service
Yeah, for sure.
that freedom of speech.
You know, and you know, some of these places I watch these videos with these Karens, and
Hmm.
I am blown away at the amount of how many people don't use the right to refuse service.
Hmm.
A lot of these places are in California, and that is a right that you have, the right to refuse
Hmm.
service, and they don't use it. Instead, they want to sit there and try to please the customer and argue with the customer or this Karen or whoever. And I feel like you just have the right to tell them to leave,
Hmm.
you know, and then when they don't leave, you call the cops, and then the cops come and remove them from the property. Instead, it escalates.
Hmm.
But I'm not in that situation. I haven't been put in that situation. I would hate to be in that kind of situation. I don't own a store, so I won't be in that situation.
But
But if a store refused service to me, I'm leaving. I'm
that's what it was
leaving.
about.
I'm not gonna stick around and start like fuck you and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And why? Just get the fuck out. If they don't want to give you service, then bye.
yeah,
Someone else may.
yeah.
There are other places, but then everybody wants to get on their little soapbox and talk shit. You know, it's just, I'm not saying about these people in particular. I'm just saying some cases like the guy who socked the woman at the fried chicken place,
Oh yeah.
and her son killed him, and
I'm glad that they
there's
got out and got from
but
underneath that.
but you get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like that did not have to go that far.
Hmm.
It didn't have to get to that point. But some people just don't know when to stop. They have to prove the point and get in people's faces. The man hit the woman in the face.
Well,
Like, come
he
on.
fucked around and he found
No,
out.
I understand
I
that.
feel no sympathy for. I mean, I feel sympathy for anybody who's lost their life or have experienced loss of life, but I feel no sympathy to that
I'm
dude
not going to
because
speak on that
hold
at
on, hold
all.
on. I feel no sympathy for that guy because one, that was somebody's mother, and that child was there. Do I feel that he should have ultimately lost his life? No, but that's he fucked around and he found out, and that was you don't know what someone reaction is going to be.
I understand that.
And so
I
yeah.
completely understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to get that far.
No,
I
absolutely.
don't want to speak on whether he deserved that or not, whether he fucked around and found out. That was someone's life, you know what
Hmm.
I mean? And to me, I think that I don't want to I don't want to speak on that. I just think it was a horrible
Yeah.
situation, and things happened that shouldn't have happened.
Oh yeah.
and and it's sad. It's sad that we take it to this point, because I mean, look at how many people have been shot going up to someone's front door
Yeah.
just to go find out if they've some information, not even like in a hostile way. Some first it was a kid, now it's a woman
Yeah.
that this white lady killed, and it's like, why are you sitting at the door with the fucking gun,
Armed
like,
to the teeth.
yeah, what? I don't know. And that's in someone's home, that's on someone's property. We're talking about stores. Just fucking leave the fucking property. Why fight, and it escalate? Why does it have to escalate? It just makes me sad for us as the human race. Like, we should all be better than that, and apparently we're not.
So, just going back to the thing that we were talking about with the Supreme Court ruling, it also does not affect employment or anything like that.
No, it shouldn't.
So no, yeah. So it's specifically about the right to refuse service because that business does not agree or align with what
I think we watched a video where the guy, I think it was a TV show. It was scripted, of course, but it was white power couple. Mm-hmm. And they went into a cake shop and they wanted a cake done, and they got pissed off because they wouldn't make the cake. And they told them, like, we'll give you a cake, but we won't write what you want. And they called the cops, and
it's
the
kind
cops
of the same
were
scenario.
Like, that's what I'm saying. And the cops were like, it's their right to refuse service. Like, they don't have to do that. And they're like, why? I'm an American, and
doesn't matter.
Whatever.
So are they.
But yeah. No, I get it.
And so this is what this was about. I think it got
Interesting.
I think it got really blown out of proportion. I think because the LGBTQ organization is very powerful politically.
Yeah, they are.
And I think this,
look at how far they've come.
And and this has gone up the ladder of their movement.
Yeah.
And it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and I feel like they thought it was
they were gonna win.
They were gonna win.
Yeah.
And it's not about,
sometimes you gotta just take the L.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not about whether you're gay, lesbian, straight, bi, whatever the hell the letters stand for, because they keep adding letters. I have no idea. I don't even know what the plus stands for. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It's what it's about is being able for business to be able to refuse you service because they don't agree with whatever your stance is.
So it's lesbian, gay. No, what is it?
I don't want to mess it up.
I'm gonna say it. It's lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, plus.
Plus what?
Oh, why are you so aggressive about it? Shit.
I'm just, every time I ask somebody what the plus stands for,
I'm
nobody can tell
assuming
me.
it's the binary, non-binary. I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know 100%, but you ain't got to be aggressive about that shit.
I didn't mean
Fuck.
to be aggressive. I was just curious.
All right. On that note, let's end it right here. Thanks for listening.
Again, no one ever tells me what the plus stands for. They just throw a plus in there. And I'm like, well, what is the plus for? That's why. All right, on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July, and we're out of here.
Deuces.